the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll.
Alderman Tobin.
Here.
Alderman Jean-Francois.
Here.
Alderman Johnson.
Here.
Alderwoman Ray.
Here.
Alderman Kleiner.
Here.
Alderman Green.
Here.
Alderman Witt.
Here.
Alderman Massey.
Here.
President Rodriguez.
Here.
Quorum is present.
Approval of minutes.
So moved.
Alderman Kleiner.
Thank you. I want to make a motion to change the agenda to accepting the minutes of December 3rd and December 17th.
So 3.1 from January 21st to December 17th.
December 17th.
Motion by Mr. Kleiner, seconded by Alderman Ray. All in favor? Aye. All right, so approval of both meetings now. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Massey, Green, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Correspondence.
We have a standardized notice form for providing 30-day advance notice for a liquor license for Bar Boys Properties, LLC, 27A West Main Street.
Forward to the police. That's it? All right. All right, for the good of the city, our city clerk will call up the people who signed in.
West Main.
Jacob wants to be the sergeant at arms.
Snow czar. Our first speaker this evening is Lori Ramirez, speaking about good cause eviction.
Good evening. Mi nombre es Lori Ramírez y vivo aquí en Middletown. Y he estado viviendo por 20 años.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lori. I've been living here in Middletown for the last 20 years.
Estoy aquí hoy para hablar del apoyo del desalojo por buena causa.
I'm here to speak in support of good cause eviction.
Necesitamos esta ley para protegernos contra los desalojos injustos y los aumentos predatorios de los alquileres.
We need this law to protect us from unfair evictions and predatory increases.
Mantendría bajo los alquileres y mantendría a las familias en sus hogares.
It would keep housing low, and it would keep families in their homes.
Si pago mi alquiler y cumplo con la ley y me contrato de arrendamiento,
If I follow the law and I pay my rent and I'm completing what my lease says,
no debería tener que enfrentar la amenaza de desalojo o aumento predatorio de alquiler.
I shouldn't be facing an eviction or a threat to a rent increase.
También les pido que establezcan la extensión por tamaño de cartera en una unidad.
I'm also asking that you please include the one portfolio size
a fin de cubrir la mayor cantidad posible de alquilinos según la ley.
and to be able to cover as many people and tenants here in the municipality with this law.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Vanessa Sid, also speaking on good cause eviction.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Vanessa, Second Ward. I'm here today because I am hearing that good cause eviction is in the works and the legislation is currently being written up. But I do want to emphasize that it's really crucial and important to make sure that we can include the most protection for our communities, being one portfolio size, because unfortunately there are LLC loopholes where landlords can easily create an LLC for each property and increase the rent as they wish. We actually have someone joining us tonight, but he is running late from work. He actually came and spoke at the last couple meetings, and he had mentioned how his rent had increased by $500. Well, he just received a notice 2 weeks ago that he has to vacate the house that he's living in 30 days. Thankfully, we were able to connect him with lawyers where legally he has 90 days because of the amount of years that he's lived there for a notice to evict, and he's been paying his rent. So now he's worried because he can't find anywhere to live. He can't find anything under $1,800, and that's unfortunately something that everyone in Middletown and all over the Hudson Valley are going through right now. But if we can do that in Middletown, we should do it. The other thing I wanted to bring up was a concern and a lot of issues that are going on with the fear-mongering of ICE. I've been getting calls left and right, all times of the day, including 5 a.m., because our communities are afraid to send their kids to school or wait at the bus stop with them because they're afraid that ICE will pick them up. Now that this new administration has issued an executive order saying that they will now go into churches, schools, it's been a really big worry for a lot of us. So we do have some parents that are going to be showing up to the school board on the 13th to introduce legislation so that schools can protect those students. But just hoping that something can be said tonight to reassure our community that you are all there for them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Delfina Escobar. Good cause eviction.
Mi testimonio. Mi nombre es Delfina Escobar González.
My name is Delfina Escobar Gonzalez.
Soy una inquilina viviendo en la dirección de la 95 Eastme Street
I'm a tenant that's living at 95 East Main Street
de la ciudad de Middletown, Nueva York.
in the city of Middletown.
Estoy acá para hablar sobre lo de las rentas.
I'm here to speak in favor of good cause
A mí se
eviction.
me hace algo injusto que yo estoy viviendo desde hace 23 años.
I think that it's an injustice that I've been living through for the last 23
Desde que yo
years.
llegué, yo estoy trabajando y haciendo taxes, pagando mis impuestos.
Since I've arrived, paying taxes,
Se me hace algo muy injusto que ahora yo no tenga dónde vivir.
it's very unjust that I now no longer have anywhere that I can live.
Las rentas están muy caras, yo ando buscando apartamentos.
The rent is too high, I'm looking for an apartment.
Me dicen de 1,400, 1,500, 1,600 más biles.
They tell me anywhere between 1,500, 1,600 plus bills.
Yo estoy trabajando en un hotel.
I'm working in a hotel.
Los dueños del hotel son de la India,
No. The
originarios de India.
hotel managers are from India.
Las personas les gusta que tú les trabajes demasiado por pocas horas.
They unfortunately are having me work more than what they're paying me for.
Me quitaron días,
They have taken days
me
away,
dejaron 2 días.
and now I only work 2 days.
Tienen privilegios los que son de su raza.
Pero no vamos a incluir eso porque eso no tiene trabajo por buena causa.
Entonces, imagínense de dónde yo voy a sacar dinero para pagar la renta si no ustedes les dicen a los dueños de casa, bajen el pago de la renta.
So imagine where we are left, where we can't even afford our rent if nobody's drawn or the attention or holding them accountable.
El salario no ha subido.
The salary is not enough. It hasn't gone
Yo,
up.
yo estoy ganando lo mismo que hace 2 años.
I'm getting paid the same that I was getting paid 2 years ago.
La compra de la comida de la canasta básica está demasiadísima cara y sigue, sube, 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 sube.
My groceries are getting smaller and more expensive.
¿De a dónde vamos a sacar para renta y para comida y para luz y para agua?
Where are we going to be able to pay our rent, water, and food?
Ustedes saben que también tenemos que pagar en que sea un doctor,
We also have to pay for doctor visits,
comprar medicamentos.
medication,
Todo lo que está no alcanza
and everything that's there.
con la carestía de rentas.
It's not enough with what we're paying for rent.
Pónganse en mi lugar si a ustedes les alcanzaría.
Please put yourselves in my shoes if it would be enough for you.
Entonces me gustaría que ustedes aprobaran esta ley
So
y
I'd really like
frenaran un poquito las rentas, por favor.
So I would really like if you guys could approve this law so that we can get some kind of relief.
A mí me gustaría eso y ese es el favor más grande que yo les pediría,
I would really like that, and that's the biggest favor I'm asking you all.
que un poquito la renta. Ya es algo muy injusto, 1,400, 1,600, 1,700.
Just a little more relief on the rent because it's already too expensive. 1,500, 1,000.
Aquí me puse a buscar, están más caros acá los estudios que en el estado de Nueva York. Encontré uno de 1,200 allá.
I was looking and the apartments are much more expensive here than they are in New York City.
Algo muy absurdo.
Something really absurd.
Allá es ciudad, aquí es pueblo.
It's a city over there, it's a city here.
Eso es todo. Muchas gracias.
That's all, thank you.
Thank you.
There are no other speakers signed up.
Okay. Remarks to the mayor.
Good evening. First, I'd like to just address briefly the good cause, because I think Alderman Johnson, as committee chairman, is going to address it. And Rick, does the video portion of our meetings get translated too? Is there availability to translate the video portion
We
our
can look
meeting?
into that. I have to
Yeah,
double
if you
check
could.
that.
I know the forms and everything's on there has translated, but we are going to, Paul's going to announce the public hearing process that we're going to begin to go through this, but I want to make sure that the people here also understand that this rent program is not something that's going to reduce your rents or even control them to the point where you're not going to get increases. The minimum increase under this current law is 5% per year, that they are the maximum, other than showing capital cost or other criteria to increase your rent. So it's not going to be the solution to the high rents in the area that many believe it may be. What's going to be part of the solution is the fact that Middletown is a pro-housing community under the state definition now, that we have built hundreds of units of subsidized housing going from County Route 78, the Mendelbaum project, to the Mill project, that we also have we're meeting with the Middletown Housing Authority about an expansion of their projects, our project up at Summit Field on some of their property there. So we do have the ability to increase the housing stock, and that will in itself assist people in controlling the rent, but also the expansion of Section 8 housing, which is necessary, the Section 8 certificates. But I just don't want people to come to these local meetings believing that passing good cause eviction is a panacea to their rent issues moving forward. Number one, your rent is not going down. Your rent will increase probably at a 5% minimum per year, because every landlord is going to automatically go to the bare minimum rent increase, the base that they can do. But the Governor Hochul, has spoken numerous times about the need to increase the housing stock in New York State, and that is the only solution, which is the supply-demand theory. And we are qualified under those programs. We're adding a lot more units and a lot more subsidized units, and I think a lot of the efforts that are here should be directed towards the state leaders to see what incentives can be given to local developers or to communities to expand the affordable housing within their communities. We do it here. We have a housing authority. We've supported it. We have probably more subsidized units than any community that I know of in probably the Hudson Valley here in the city of Middletown, different forms of subsidies. So it's not the cure-all answer, and I hope that it gets translated that way to the many who have been here in the last few meetings speaking in regards to good cause. But there are different answers, or maybe a combination of different things that need to be addressed. And one of them is increasing the housing stock in many communities that are not welcoming affordable housing. For example, Legoland and Goshen, their workforce is very much targeted towards communities like Middletown because of the pay scale. I think the lady that spoke talked about the and being employed in one of the hotels, which I'm sure is doing business, a lot of business for Legoland. Legoland or Goshen provides basically no affordable housing. So again, this is the same argument that I've had with the ceasefire people, is you're here speaking to communities that are supportive and have demonstrated over the years that we have not only demonstrated that we support affordable housing projects, we created a housing authority, not us, people way, way before us, created the Middletown Housing Authority. We have supported these types of projects. We're supporting expansion of these projects. You need to start focusing your direction on communities that are benefiting by the workforce that exists in communities like Middletown, and start encouraging those communities like Goshen, Chester, and others to develop affordable housing, and not only portraying that this good cause eviction is the answer to everyone's problems, because it's not. That's one issue. The other issues are the issue of since January 20th, I guess it's going to be a subjective term, but many people are living through hell. I know Jerry Kleiner is. He'll tell you himself. But in understanding, locally here though, understanding the impact of immigration laws and the actions that took place since January 20th on our community, the immigration raids in communities throughout our country, throughout our region, and locally also. So we need to get a better grasp on it and better grasp on what our community members are saying. So I do understand that the recent federal legislation enforcement actions have raised concerns and uncertainties within our community. Maria Bruni and I took a walk down North Street within the last 2 weeks, stopping in to visit business owners, especially those who focus on a population, Latino population, trying to get from them feedback about what they're hearing in the community, what the fears are, and what their concerns are. So as local leaders, I think we have a responsibility, and I personally want to reaffirm my commitment, and if you so choose, you as a council, if you so do so as a board or as individually, to public safety, due process, and protection of all residents' rights, regardless of immigration status. There is an impact on our community beyond all those little things. There is a fear and distrust. Today, ICE notified us that they were in Middletown. They did notify our police department. They're not required to. But the Middletown police were not requested to assist them in any way. I realize that immigration raids such as this, or whatever was planned, can and are creating an atmosphere of fear amongst immigrant families and others. It's discouraging individuals from seeking essential services, including healthcare, education, and law enforcement assistance. Many may look at them and say that's their problem, but the fears are legitimate because the indiscriminate approach that is being used and that we see reflected in many news sources is concerning. Let me be clear. If there are criminal warrants for a person living or visiting in Middletown, we are willing to cooperate in any way to enforce those warrants. All members of our community support this, I believe. These words must be heard loud and clear by those who are supporting the efforts by President Trump and the team of the team of ICE. What's an important distinction, though, is what classifies someone as a criminal. And did not paying a parking ticket 5 years ago, does that make you a criminal? I don't think so. But if there's a criminal warrant for a category that fits into the violent crimes categories of New York State Department of Justice, then of course, not only would we be willing to assist ICE, but we would be foolish not to, because that is the type of person that we do not want in Middletown, whether an immigrant or not. So we need to be clear that we are supportive of enforcement of criminal warrants, especially those that are really criminal warrants, not detainee warrants. That's not our job. Our job here in Middletown is not to be the immigration officer. Our job is to protect the public that live and visit here. And as I said, many in our community have varying opinions on the solutions, and I certainly can respect that. The election, it's almost a 50-50 country, and it was obvious that immigration was one of the prime issues, if not the prime issue, in the presidential campaign. But what we must also keep in mind is we are dealing with people, many of them here for years, even though the first Trump term in office, because of our government and big business, wanted them to be here for a variety of reasons going back 40, 50 years. Many are legal under the system they came in under, working, paying taxes with employee identification numbers, another fallacy that everyone is being paid cash, they're not paying taxes. Many people that are working in our community and in our county are paying taxes, not receiving benefits from the payment of those taxes, but are paying taxes under a government plan to create employee identification numbers. So there is a payment that is being made by them. Many are under DACA or other forms of immigration status given to them to be here legally. And what is happening to them being grouped in with a criminal element is not right in my mind or in my opinion. All are being broadcast or portrayed as criminals, justifying or trying to skew public opinion to the fact that if someone in your community is undocumented, they are automatically a criminal. That's not true. We will feel, though, here in Middletown, the economic consequences in many ways, from food prices to the availability of workforce. We're seeing it now. Our city benefits from the contributions of the immigrants in various sectors. Our downtown revitalization application in 2016 focused heavily on the immigrants in our community and the rebuilding of our communities. You saw it, you've been witnessing it firsthand, the role that immigrants play in our community, especially in our center city, where opening of businesses. You know, this concept goes back many, many decades here in Middletown. First, the German settlements here, then the Irish, then the Italians, and now a variety of Latino countries. The removal of individuals from their workplaces disrupts businesses and weakens our local economy, just like it would have done when these ethnic groups that I mentioned settled here. I grew up in such a neighborhood, so I understand it clearly. So the question becomes, what can we do? We can all help our neighbors who are suffering. Immigrant-owned businesses are suffering. Their employees are suffering. Most cities where immigrants usually gather to live or work are suffering. We collectively can do our share by patronizing them. That is the form of protest that we can do as residents of this community or people who care about this issue. Patronize those businesses that are being impacted by these decisions out of Washington, D.C. We collectively can do our share by patronizing them, as I mentioned. If you went once a week, maybe you do it twice a week for a while. Something my father placed in my head at a very young age, that when the system impacts your friends and neighbors in a negative way, take that extra step and do whatever you can to assist them. And that's what I'm asking the greater Middletown community to do, is assist these business people who are providing employment, legal employment, to tax-paying people in our community that are fearful to leave their houses, that are not able to pay, to collect their salaries, then will not be able to pay the rent, will then be forced to evict, and the snowball will just keep getting bigger and bigger. Another important part is family separation. Many of those affected by these raids are parents, siblings, and caregivers. The sudden detainment or deportation of loved ones can cause emotional and financial hardship for families. Concerns about school attendance. ICE and any outside agency, including the Middletown Police Department, not the SRO, but the police department as a whole, cannot just freely enter our schools beyond the office area without a request or some type of documentation, just because they demand to do so or want to do so. The school buildings are secured for any group, not just ICE, but any type of group from entering these schools because, for obvious reasons, security reasons. So I've been advised by the school district that this policy is in effect. They want kids to come to school. That any organization such as ICE that entered the district or entered the school would be advised that they need to contact the superintendent's office, the central office, and they would then be referred to the district legal counsel, and that would be handled on that level. So ICE coming in to the school would be addressed that way. It's unclear if they came in with specific warrants. As you know, under President Biden, I think schools and churches were off limits for these types of raids. I believe President Trump has done away with that, but I think there are still a lot of legal issues that need to be addressed. But I believe, and I understand your fears, but I believe your kids will be very safe going to school. I do understand also that the district is trying to reassure parents that they will do everything they can, of course, within the law, to protect their children while at school from anyone coming in and removing them. We want kids to go to school regardless of their status or their parent status, but we also must recognize that they have legitimate fears and concerns, not only on the parent level, but on the kid's level. And just imagine what a 10-year-old kid is going through in school, wondering when they get off the school bus whether their undocumented parent would be home, even though they, the kid themselves, is a citizen. All of this obviously puts a strain on public resources. Increased enforcement actions place additional burdens on local agencies, not-for-profits, and faith-based organizations, and they're working to support affected individuals and families, and they need to work. They need to step forward, organizations such as Catholic Charities, RECAP, and others who service the immigrant community. I'm sure they will step up. My commitment personally to the community is I will continue to uphold our city's values of inclusion and ensure that local services remain accessible to all residents, regardless of immigration status. But I want to reinforce again, please send your kids to school. If you are a victim of a crime, report it. If you need health care, seek it. Hiding in your homes, although legitimate, is not the best way, I believe, to approach this. Our law enforcement agencies are focused on keeping all of our communities, people in all of our communities safe, and we remain committed to policies that do not use local resources for federal immigration enforcement. We follow the guidance issued by Attorney General Letitia James. It's available online on the Attorney General's website. We have distributed it to some organizations as recently as prior to this meeting. We urge those affected to know their rights, to seek legal assistance from trusted organizations. We will try and put together a list of trusted groups, such as groups that I know historically have worked with immigrant community, such as Catholic Charities, and post those online and try to be a resource for people to access information. We will continue to work alongside advocacy groups and community organizations and legal aid services to provide resources and support for impacted families. Many in the community have asked, how can they help residents who are not directly impacted by these laws, but have concerns over where the federal government is reacting? And my recommendations to them is to stay informed, make sure you share accurate information, and dispel rumors that may cause unnecessary panic, such as happened last week on social media with the posting of ICE vehicles on Route 211. And if you look closely at the picture, the trees were green and there was no snow on the ground. So, but I didn't notice it myself when I saw it. It was pointed out to me by a few people. So imagine being one of those potential people, just seeing that on your social media, the fear that it put into them. But it was pointed out to me that, no, there's no snow. This is not a current picture. So these social media posts that are unverified are very damaging. I encourage people to know their rights. If you or someone you know is affected, understanding your legal rights is crucial. Local organizations will provide assistance and information on what to do if approached by immigration authorities. I believe I'm saying this accurately, and maybe the chief will reinforce it, is that the Middletown Police Department will not ask you your immigration status. That is not the business of the Middletown Police Department. I will let him speak to that himself, though. Also, to support your neighbors. Extend support to those in need, whether through legal aid, housing assistance, or emotional support. Engage with local officials, as we're seeing this evening. Advocate for fair policies and communicate your concerns to elected representatives. Know what's going to come forward. I believe a lot of detainees will be housed at the Orange County Jail because the jail is more than half empty. And I understand that there is some type of agreement in the works. Contact your county officials regarding that and get their feelings on what's going on. We have county legislative people here that represent the city of Middletown, Newburgh, Port Jervis, communities with, town of Walk Hill, communities with high Latino populations. We will stand with all members of our community and remain committed to fostering a city where everyone feels safe and valued as much as they can. Please reach out to my office for resources or assistance, and I will do my best to assist, and so will my office. I will also reinforce about the local business part, because it's key. It's key to allowing people to get out of their homes, go to work, pay their bills, because without that, it will be just a tremendous snowball that will not be a good one. And I will once again state that if you have a criminal warrant, and I think this is the message, that every time we talk about immigration, we need to let our residents know that we are not supportive of people being in our community that have a criminal warrant that meets the Department of Justice standards. Not a phony criminal warrant for someone who didn't pay a parking ticket, but a real criminal warrant. We will assist law enforcement on any level when they're looking for someone who has committed a violent crime, whether it be here in New York City or anywhere. So this is not about criminals. If they are here, we want them out, and we'll offer any assistance that we need to do so. This is about community, it's about families, it's about our friends and neighbors, it's about people who you just heard from that have been here for 10, 20, 30 years, that are part of this community, have volunteered in many capacities in our community, that pay taxes in our community, that pay bills in our community, that shop in our community, that have helped rebuild our downtown. And that's the type of people we want in our community. Hopefully, the federal government will work out some path forward, but in the meantime, we need to address it and on a local level and do what we can do and provide as much information as possible. And that's all I have. If you have any questions, I'd be willing to address it.
Any question for the mayor?
Okay,
Thank you. Remarks of department heads, economic development. That's for you, Maria.
Good evening. I don't have anything this evening unless anybody has any questions for
Any
me.
questions for economic development? Thank you, Maria.
Thank you.
DPW Commissioner.
Good evening, all. Water level in our reservoirs, 93% for Alderman Massey. In December 24, we had very low precipitation, and so is in January. Just to give you an idea, in December we had 0.9 inches. Average monthly for December is 4.3 inches. In January this year, just last month, we had 0.6 inches. Our average monthly for January is 2.84. Point I'm trying to make is we are still, we're off the severe drought, but there is a drought going on. We're still doing good. Usually our reservoirs at this time of the year, we would have been 100% full, but we'll be okay. We're doing okay. And we have the measures in there to keep us going okay. Just to keep in mind that we do have very low precipitation since October. There was some kind of news about freezing the federal grants and so on and so forth, but then I was hoping the mayor will touch on that. But with the court order, there is no freeze. They put a stop on the freeze on federal spending for the grants. So our raw water line design is progressing. Our finished water line design is progressing, most of which are funded by, or some of which are funded by federal grants. Tonight before you, there's a resolution for the compost. We collect the leaves every year. In the past, the city used to ship them over to Organic Renewal and pay money to get rid of them. Now we are saving them. We mix them. We make compost out of them. However, they're not very clean. So we made a deal. We contacted some landscapers around us. McCary Landscape, he came with a very good deal for us, we believe. And there is a resolution before you tonight. They will take 7 loads of our compost material, and they will give us back 1 load of 20, full of 20-yard DOT-approved topsoil, which we believe it's an excellent deal, and we are requesting that you approve it. Other contractors like Boyce, they were not interested at all in making an offer. Water Department, as you have seen in your messages, it's been very busy dealing with water main breaks, and they're on top of it. We have lost quite a bit of water, but we are doing well, and the guys are catching all the water main breaks as they happen now. Just a quick remark for the public. The city invested almost, our project, the traffic operation, about $30 million in there, and part of it is safety and ADA accessibility for our crosswalks and intersections. So what I'm requesting for the public is to start making use of this technology, meaning when you are at an intersection, do not cross the red light before or any light until you have the pedestrian green light before you asking you to cross safely. That's when you can cross safely. Otherwise, do not just, if it's red, don't cross, do not cross, please, because accidents happen, and you should be at the designated area where you want to cross the intersection. So please be very careful, use it. The green light for pedestrian is not going to activate itself. You have to push the button for it to activate. And the reason behind this is we don't want to waste time if there is nobody, if there is no pedestrians trying to cross the road to hold back all the vehicle traffic. And that's the reason behind it. So if you intend to cross, please be at an intersection where it is designated for pedestrian crossing. Activate, push the light, and wait for the green light for you to allow you to walk across. And this will be much safer for you and for the vehicles around you. We also submitted, just an update, WSP and us submitted together a grant for the $20 million for upgrading most of our remaining sidewalks and adding other traffic safety devices throughout the city on as-need basis after doing a thorough study of that. So that's $20 million. We just submitted that. With that, I will conclude. Any questions?
Any question for Jacob? All right, thank you, Jacob. Police Chief.
Good evening. To follow up on what the mayor mentioned about immigration status, he is 100% correct. The Middletown Police does not need to know anyone's immigration status. There's no purpose for our local process. It doesn't impact it in any way. And I hope over the last many years that our Latino community realizes that we're here to support them and to provide their service as we would to anyone else in our community. And also to expand on to follow up on what Commissioner Twill had just mentioned as well, as far as the crosswalks, as we all see, it's a great project, a huge investment in our community. And over the last about 3 months, we've had the unfortunate issues of having 3 fatal pedestrian vehicle accidents. And all 3 of them, the individual that was struck by the vehicle was not in one of the crosswalks. They were crossing at an area that had no crosswalk. I can't say that that would have been the ultimate cause or prevention, but it would be nice to be able to utilize the crosswalks that were put in place with the flashing lights. They're better lit areas, and I'm hopeful that people will start using them, and hopefully we eliminate any future tragic events. Going also back to the immigration status, just also as the mayor was mentioning, the Middletown Police, we do enforce court orders and judicial warrants. So if we are provided with a warrant for an arrest or a court order, we do act upon them. Again, that doesn't matter what the immigration status is. That's an order from a judge that tells us that we have to take someone into custody. That's our standard practice. That's standard practice within policing. It's nothing different from us to any other police department. Other than that, I have nothing unless you have questions for me.
Any question for the police chief? Alderman Massey?
Chief, if you want to just mention about the upcoming police exam, we have no problem.
Are you ready for your phones to ring?
Yeah,
Yes.
hopefully it'll come in earlier instead of waiting until the last minute, but I know you're looking forward to it.
Yes, I am looking forward to it. We're definitely in need of additional police officers. We have some vacancies, and through Civil Service and Mr. Massey, we have a police officer exam scheduled for May 3rd of this year. So once again, May 3rd, of this year will be our next police officer exam. It's been about 4 years since our last one. The announcements have not come out as of yet, but they should be coming out in the near future. Once the announcements are out, they will have the requirements, the minimum requirements to become a police officer with us, and it'll explain the process. And they will be able to be online.
It'll be online, yes, Chief.
Yep, online, we'll have them in the police department. I believe they'll be in Mr.
I'd say
Massey's
within the
office.
next 2 weeks.
Very good. We look forward to that, and we're hoping that we have many people, especially our local people, that want to come out and take the test to join our force. So thank you.
All right, thank you, Chief.
You know?
City Clerk.
Good evening. I just wanted to take this opportunity. Earlier today, myself and Salinas Rodriguez from Parks and Rec took a number of our Mayor's Youth Council students to Albany, where they met with Assemblywoman Paula Kay and State Senator James Skoufis to advocate for youth funding and talk about the importance of youth programs in our community. So we want to thank both of them for taking the time to meet with us today. On this evening's agenda is a resolution announcing that April 26th will be our annual citywide cleanup day. I see our friend Sue Depew in the back. We have not forgot it this year, Sue. We're looking forward to that, and we're launching a contest with the Recreation and Parks Department this week. We're looking for a new design for our T-shirts this year, so if any of our students are listening at home, check out the Recreation and Parks Department's Facebook page and website for information on how you can submit your design to be put on the T-shirts for this year's annual event. And with that, that's it for me.
All right, remarks of Alderman Tobin.
Sure. I attended the Martin Luther King Jr. celebration. It's one of my favorite of the year. There's dancing, singing, poetry. It was definitely an excellent event. I was glad I could make it. And then putting on my labor leader hat, Martin Luther King died in Memphis, Tennessee for striking sanitation workers. They're fighting for a living wage, and there's signs that read, I am a man, because the people down south were trying to dehumanize their workers, just like we see today, the dehumanizing of people, trying to paint everybody as criminals. And so we have to resist those stereotypes and those tactics. In the AFL-CIO, we have Know Your Rights pamphlets we're passing out to our members. We're also my teachers' unions, AFT and NEA. We're working to protect our kids. I sent a sample school board resolution to Vanessa today that would affirm schools as safe havens and welcoming places for learning for all students. And so as a teachers' unions, we're committed to protecting our students, that our schools should be safe zones, as well as our courts and our churches. I know we had, years ago, there was an ICE raid, someone was arrested downstairs, right? So if our schools and our courts are not safe zones, people won't go to court. They won't report crimes. The kids won't go to school. We can't have that, or go to church. So these have to be safe zones. And shame on Trump for if he did take that away. And so I'd like to thank For the Many, very similar to the 1900 progressive aid societies and settlement houses. You have to help your own community. If you look above the bar down the street there, it says Sons of Italy. The Polish did it, the Italians did it. Every immigrant group has to, we're here to help you too, but you have to help yourself too. So I'm glad to see that tradition is continuing, just a new generation of folks. So, thank you.
Alderman John Francois.
Yes, good evening. Unfortunately, I had to miss the MLK celebration due to a family member funeral. And I promise, it's one of my favorite celebrations also every year. And I was kind of hurtful that I missed it this year because unfortunate family member had passed away. You know what? We're living in a hard time right now. But the way I look at it, it's a storm that's going on right now. It's a bad storm. But by the grace of God, we're going to weather that storm sooner than later. Just try not to stress about everything that you heard. It's just something that we're going through right now, but we're going to get through it by the grace of God. Thank you.
Alderman Johnson.
Thank you. Once again, with respect to good cause, we're scheduling a public hearing for the first meeting in March. Mr. Clerk, are there any documents posted on the website now, and are they both in English and Spanish?
The documents related to the good cause will be uploaded in the coming days.
Thank you. So yes, we're aware of the portfolio issue, the LLC issue. The mayor has devoted a lot of time in the last 2 or 3 months to this issue, and we are looking forward to taking action. With respect to the mayor's remarks about ICE, The recent demographics of our school system say that 70% of our students are Latino in origin. There was a thing in the news recently, of course, that in a particular school district in Texas, 600 students were kept out of school because of concerns of ramifications of being out in public. In my veterinary practice in the last 2 months, I've met people from Guatemala, Nicaragua, El Salvador, Colombia, Dominican Republic, and Mexico. So to say that our community is made up of a variety of people is not an exaggeration. And I certainly am pleased that the mayor has put forth a reassurance that we as a community will do the very best to protect our residents. Thank you.
Alderman Ray?
Good evening. I agree wholeheartedly. Good cause eviction. I've said it repeatedly, and I will say it again. I am a single mom of 4 kids, and I do it by myself. And I am so lucky that I have a mortgage and not a landlord. Because if I lived with I already live in the kind of fear, like, what if something big breaks? How am I going to fix it? But if I had to live under the fear of, in 2 weeks, my landlord's going to tell me, you better find another $500 a month, or you and your kids are homeless, is horrific. And no one should live with that level of anxiety. If you go to work and you pay your rent on time and you do the right thing, you should not have this incredible fear that you will be turned out into the street. I find that horrific. I'm fully in support of doing this legislation and doing it the right way and protecting everyone. I agree with the mayor. It's definitely not going to force landlords to lower their rents, which are insane, but it will protect people from having the rug ripped out from under them. I'm fully in support. I'm going to get a little emotional because when we get to ICE, we're talking about the kids that I work with at Presidential. And I feel very strongly about my students, and you can ask them if you know them about Miss Katie. I love those kids. And we have had empty tables at lunch with kids who are like, oh, they didn't come in because they're afraid if they're here that there'd be a problem, so they just stayed home. So we do have kids who are not coming to school from fear. We have kids who are expressing their own fear about what's going to happen to my parents or my grandmother. And that's awful stuff to watch them go through because they're too young. They shouldn't be carrying that burden. And they are. For me, working in the school, no one's taking your kids from those schools. No one gets in the building without our permission. They're very secure, and they always have adults with them, so we will keep them safe in the school. City business. For the water main breaks, Jacob, I have to say, we've had them like almost every day, if anyone else gets the announcements from the reporting thing, but every day. And I've seen them. They've been at my corner years back, sitting in a hole of water in 5-degree weather. And these guys are out every hour, any condition, and I just really kudos to them to keeping our infrastructure in one piece in awful weather conditions. So my many thanks to them. Looks like we're looking at some snow coming our way, so just a reminder to shovel your hydrants. That's it.
Get the car up the street.
Alderman Kleiner?
Thank you. Wow. I also went to the MLK celebration. I couldn't stay for all of it, but the mayor made some excellent remarks at the celebration, represented us well, and I want to thank the mayor for his remarks tonight. Really spot on and very supportive of our community, and that's what we need to be. MLK talked about the triple evils of racism, materialism, and militarism, particularly when his speech at Riverside Church beyond Vietnam. So, yes, he was shot helping the Memphis garbage workers sanitation workers tried to unionize, but he was shot for a lot of reasons. And we need to honor that legacy, even though that Mr. Hegseth has now removed that honoring from the military and removed Black History Month from the military. It's becoming more like Florida. I want to thank the people in Middletown Warming Station because it really has been cold, and the volunteers, and they still need volunteers, and you can look on the MiddletownWarmingStation.com to see what nights they need volunteers. But they just have done an amazing job, and they have to turn away people every night because they're over capacity. So I thank them for all they're doing. It's just unimaginable people having this sleep outside on nights like we've had. I want to thank the Beitien and the community for the Chinese New Year celebration that they had at New Middletown, the Lunar New Year. It was a really fun event. Good cause eviction. We are going to vote tonight on the public hearing, but I want to find out where that material for the public hearing will be. I hope it will be prominently displayed on the website so people can see exactly what's involved, and when they come to the public hearing, can know exactly what they're talking about. I don't know anymore what taking an oath of office means. I mean, in this council, we take an oath of office to support the Constitution of New York and of the United States. And does that amount to anything? I mean, is it enforceable? Because on January 20th, you had Donald Trump take an oath to preserve, protect, and defend the United States Constitution, and the next day he tried to throw out the 14th Amendment by signing an executive order. And you know, the other thing that the Article 2 of the Constitution assigns to the president is to see that the laws be faithfully executed and not summarily disregarded and thrown out. So I did mention months ago, I considered Elon Musk to be the biggest coward in this country. And I think maybe people are seeing why I said that now. To give him access with no security clearance, and these kids no security clearance, to give them access to critical information that affects all of us, affects Middletown residents, anyone with a social security number, anyone, you know, your information is now out there for whatever Musk and his cohorts want to do with it. So the freezing grants, it just throws, our economic development, all our block grant programs, all those things. What do? Are they frozen? Are they not frozen? How do you move on with all the things that Middletown tries to do for its citizens? It just was so ridiculous and so scary. And the idea, again, see that the laws be faithfully executed, of firing the attorneys, the inspectors general from every department. These are the people who root out corruption, who make sure that the department's on the up and up. So you can't fire them. They're, appointed by Congress, and basically he didn't care. They don't care. Immigration and demonizing immigrants and so much disinformation. We're the only country that has birthright citizenship. That's what was claimed. That's ridiculous. There's at least 33 countries, and probably more, that grant birthright citizenship. So not only is that an outright lie to join 40 or 50,000 other outright lies, but it wasn't fact-checked. I mean, where's the press to say that's ridiculous? So on immigration, I urge people to listen to a Woody Guthrie song. I think he wrote it in 1948, and Cisco Houston has a good version of it, but it's called Deportee, or Plane Wreck over Los Gatos Canyon. And it just talks about the people who were flown out on a deportation rate, and he wrote it because he was so angry, because when that plane blew up, and I don't remember how many people were killed, but they didn't have any names, they were just deportees. So that you should listen to it, you should understand it. Getting rid of USAID, our agency for international development, it's such crucial assistance and medical assistance for countries in Africa, and just, you know, Kennedy's creation, John F. Kennedy's creation. To just say you're going to get rid of that, I don't get it. I know grocery prices were going to come way down on day one. Have you been in the grocery store lately? Are prices going down? No, they're not. And when you add tariffs, and prices will all go up. So I don't know. There's just so much going on and so much that affects Middletown. But I thank Mr. Massey and the police exam, but we have civil service for a reason. And it's to protect those jobs from the political whims of whoever happens to be in power. That's what you really mean by the deep state. It's protecting government agencies from undue political interference. And we've stripped that away completely. So there was another country where loyalty became the test for nominees, for heads of departments, for heads of the military. Loyalty became the only test. That was 1933 Germany, Deutschland über alles. So if you don't know the history, you really ought to study it, because a lot of what's going on now is borrowed from those times. So again, I thank the people coming in and standing up for good cause. And no, it won't bring rents down, but it hopefully will keep landlords from jacking your rent up $500 and saying you have to get out in 20 days. That's what the goal is. Thank you.
Alderman Green.
Thank you. First off, just on a city business note, Alderman Kleiner and I are going to be foregoing our February constituents meeting. Again, it's a short month, and it seems like it's going to be a cold month. So we're going to forego that. We'll look forward to March and spring, and hopefully some warmer and better news weather. So there's not much more that can be said about everything going on here and in our country, and the deep uncertainty and fear that I think everyone has, and if they don't have, they probably should have a little bit of fear and uncertainty. Mouth service is kind of what I think a lot of people were fed and given for a vote, only to find out that it's not in your best interest. And there really was not a plan all along. If you listen to any news in the morning, maybe it's Project 2025, maybe it's we're going to just wake up and see what we feel like doing this morning, and then maybe reverse it tomorrow. Either way, it's a deeply unsettling time for everyone. And Alderwoman Ray, you hit the nail on the head. I sit here, I listen every day, and I drop my son off at Presidential in the morning. I hear him talk about his friends, and I see him walk out hand in hand. They don't care what race, what color, who's documented, undocumented, who was born here, who was born. His big news the other day was that his friend was the lucky one to get the tooth necklace because their tooth fell out in the middle of school. That child does not have to be sitting there or sitting at home worried that someone's coming in to take them away. That's not an America that I want to live in. That's not America. Whether your parents are going to be home when you get home, again, I understand and I agree. Mayor, thank you for just putting it all out there, in black and white, that, there's a criminal side of things, but then there's the other side where it's wrong. And it's immoral, and it's dehumanizing from just the idea of it. And it breaks my heart to think that, my son's sitting there knowing that he's going to come home to his dog, his sister, every night, and yet he doesn't know, that the kid next to him might just be thinking, is this the day that I don't even get to get on the bus? I don't know. I'm not a very emotional person, but that just hits me hard. And it should hit every person, regardless of your political party, regardless of your religious affiliation, non-religious affiliation, regardless of your race, sex, age. Be human. Look to our neighbors. We're a good community because of everyone in it. And we need to protect that good and protect our community and protect the members of our community, because we deserve protecting them. So that's all I'm going to say tonight. Thank you.
Alderman Witt.
Thank you very much. This is a lot tonight. It's a lot, and I appreciate the words of everyone here saying it about both topics tonight. And I guess want to say that I appreciate the mayor putting this out here about ICE and letting everybody know how it's going to be here. You can see, and social media, we all see it, and that was a perfect example that you used. But this is how it's going to be here. The police chief just got up and said, this is how it's going to be here. And I think that that's very important. I think people in our city need to know that, and that if there are criminals who need to not be here, then that's how our police department is going to act. That's a good thing. And I mean, everything else has been said, and I'm in favor of what the mayor said about this being a safe place. And I'm sorry to hear the stories about children not going to school. And I think if you have questions, please call your school and ask them. I work for the school district. I'm in communications. I am not at a place where I can comment on what any official policy is, but I believe, and I say that because people probably know that I do work for the school district, but the mayor is saying that he spoke with the superintendent, and I would believe him at his word on that. So anyway, that's my thoughts on that. So I support, like everyone else does here. Two things on a positive note also too is high school graduation is going to be this Friday at 6 o'clock. There will be 26 people, I think, walking across the stage, not across Fowler Field. It would be very cold out there at the stadium. So they certainly should be commended, these folks. Some of them are leaving early, and some of them need a little extra time. But, we have very large classes and very large opportunities at Middletown, and I'm excited for these 26 kids. And with the snow coming, likely Wednesday night into Thursday, please stay off the roads. The mayor had addressed this on social media, I think, and please, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong here. I think there needed to be 135 tickets given out because people were parking on the road. And yet people saying that, well, more money in their pocket. And I can assure folks, with everything that we talked about at all these meetings, it never came up that this was a money-making initiative. This was about trying to be convenient for our residents. But at the same time, we have an obligation to our DPW folks and our police folks. People have to follow these rules. And this comes up again for a review, and it's based on, nobody wants to write tickets or anything. And people are getting caught up, well, if it's 2.5 inches, it's going to snow. Just please help us out here and don't park on the street. Thank you very much.
Alderman Massey.
Good evening. Jacob, first of all, thank you and your department for the tremendous job you've done, both with the water main breaks and certainly with the keeping the streets plowed and clean for our motorists. Chief, I'm hoping that the test on May 3rd will produce a lot of candidates. And you can call our office, or it'll be online probably within the next 2 weeks. But if you give our office a call, we'll be happy to walk you through anything. Now, on ICE and immigration, I'm sorry for what many of you people are going through, your families. It just disgusts the hell out of me that you have to do that. And unfortunately, Mr. Trump happened to be elected, and he's turning out to be just a piece of garbage that we thought he might be. And it's not fair to you, but as the mayor was saying, we can all help out by frequenting the businesses that many of you run. That's a part of the protest, and to do whatever we can as a council, as a city. We're welcoming to you. We thank you for being here, and I know each and every one of us are sorry that you have to go through any of this, and hopefully at some point in the future, near future, this will all be behind us, and your children will be able to walk into school, you'll be able to go to work, earn a living, and not have fear. Thank you.
I want to thank the mayor, the police chief, for what they said tonight, and our leaders in our city departments. It's touching, and you know, I have a counter on my phone, 1,443 days, 22 hours, 21 minutes, and 42 seconds. That's until somebody's out of office. And I look at it every day. But what do we need to do? In 2 years, blue states, red states, hit them where it counts. Support the where it's red, you support the blue. You got to hit them where it counts. A lot of people in here, I even know family members that didn't go out and vote, who didn't support politicians, who didn't do it. And now look at where we're at. It's a storm. It's a disaster. It's everything. 1983, I crossed that border. 1988, my brother was born. We were told to go back to the country. We came back, we did everything, and now my brother might be in trouble because he was born here to immigrant parents. You know, going back and forth, I was like, damn, we do everything right, we try to do everything right, and now we constantly see it. So talk to each other. It's $5. If you could donate $5, $5 goes a long way. If it's everybody. Texas, all those states in the South, hit them where it counts. Talk to each other. And here in Middletown, you're always going to be safe. And the leadership is going to protect you, and we're going to do the right thing all the time. But, you know, it took, you know, I'm not going to go out and vote. He's not going to get in office. It's not going to happen. It did happen. And now we're paying for it. In 2 years, Congress is up. Not 4 years. We don't have to wait 1,400 days. In 2 years, now people are going to say we're going to run. Now's the time to go get those people elected so things can change for the better. Middletown was Dutch, it was then Irish, Italian, it was everything. None of us were here. We're not Native Americans. None of us are Native Americans. So we're here to protect our community. But please, 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 look at each other, get involved. Listen to Vanessa. She can get you involved. But it has to be to the point where it has to hit the pockets. Yes, instead of going to McDonald's, take that $25 and donate it to somebody. New York is blue. Let's go for the red and turn those around. Thank you. New business.
Good evening. We have a resolution sponsored by Alderman Green appointing Anthony Cantoli to the Police Commission.
Resolution sponsored by Alderman Green, seconded by Alderman Massey. Any discussion? Roll.
Tobin.
Aye.
Jean-Francois.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Ray.
Aye.
Kleiner.
Aye.
Green.
Aye.
Witt.
Aye.
Massey.
Aye.
President Rodriguez.
Aye.
Carries. Resolution sponsored by Alderman Massey authorizing the removal of an accessible parking space in front of 79 Montgomery Street.
Resolution sponsored by Alderman Massey, seconded by Alderman John Francois. Any discussion? Roll.
Tobin.
Aye.
Jean-Francois.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Ray.
Aye.
Kleiner.
Aye.
Green.
Aye.
Witt.
Aye.
Massey.
Aye.
President Rodriguez.
Aye.
Carries. Resolution sponsored by Alderman Johnson authorizing a public hearing on good cause eviction legislation.
Resolution sponsored by Alderman Johnson, seconded by Alderman John Francois. Any discussion? Roll.
Tobin.
Aye.
Jean-Francois.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Ray.
Aye.
Kleiner.
Aye.
Green.
Aye.
Witt.
Aye.
Massey.
Aye.
President Rodriguez.
Aye.
Carries. Resolution sponsored by Alderman Witt authorizing the approval to transfer of scholarships to special programs.
Resolution sponsored by Alderman Witt, seconded by Alderman Green. Any discussion? Roll.
Tobin.
Aye.
Jean-Francois.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Ray.
Aye.
Kleiner.
Aye.
Green.
Aye.
Witt.
Aye.
Massey.
Aye.
President Rodriguez.
Aye.
Carries. Resolution sponsored by Alderman Massey authorizing a transfer of $37,000 in the Community Development Fund for small business loans.
Resolution sponsored by Alderman Massey, seconded by Alderman Kleiner. Any discussion? Roll.
Tobin.
Aye.
Jean-Francois.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Ray.
Aye.
Kleiner.
Aye.
Green.
Aye.
Witt.
Aye.
Massey.
Aye.
President Rodriguez.
Aye.
Carries. Resolution sponsored by Alderman John Francois authorizing a proposal for Middletown, New Jersey Railway train station from Clark Patterson Lee.
Resolution sponsored by Alderman John Francois, seconded by Alderman Johnson. Any discussion? Roll.
Tobin.
Aye.
Jean-Francois.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Ray.
Aye.
Kleiner.
Aye.
Green.
Aye.
Witt.
Aye.
Massey.
Aye.
President Rodriguez.
Aye.
Carries. Resolution sponsored by Alderman Tobin authorizing a proposal from Stratagem Security for additional security upgrades at the city courthouse.
Resolution sponsored by Alderman Tobin, seconded by Alderman John Francois. Any discussion? Roll.
Tobin.
Aye.
Jean-Francois.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Ray.
Aye.
Kleiner.
Aye.
Green.
Aye.
Witt.
Aye.
Massey.
Aye.
President Rodriguez.
Aye.
Carries. Resolution sponsored by Alderman Kleiner authorizing a proposal from McCary's Landscaping, Inc. for topsoil trade of city stockpiled leaves.
Resolution sponsored by Alderman Kleiner, seconded by Alderman Green. Any discussion? Roll.
Tobin.
Aye.
Jean-Francois.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Ray.
Aye.
Kleiner.
Aye.
Green.
Aye.
Witt.
Aye.
Massey.
Aye.
President Rodriguez.
Aye.
Carries. Resolution sponsored by Alderwoman Ray authorizing the annual citywide cleanup event to be held on April 26, 2025.
Resolution sponsored by Alderman Ray, seconded by Alderman Johnson. Any discussion? Roll.
Tobin.
Aye.
Jean-Francois.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Ray.
Aye.
Kleiner.
Aye.
Green.
Aye.
Witt.
Aye.
Massey.
Aye.
President Rodriguez.
Aye.
Carries. Resolution sponsored by Alderman Massey authorizing the renaming of a section of roadway as Dr. J. Sexter Way.
A resolution sponsored by Alderman Massey, seconded by Alderman Johnson. Any discussion? Alderman Kleiner?
Yeah, what part of the roadway is this and which roadway is it?
The ring, the loop.
It's the loop at Toro College, but there's a small part as you go up Myrtle. The corner on the right is part of Ridge Street. Ridge Street will still remain on the left. So you make a left at the top of the hill, you're on Ridge. You make a right going around that loop, you'll be on Dr. J. Sexter Way.
Okay, thank you.
We're not obligated to pave it, right? All right, anyone else? Roll.
Tobin.
Aye.
Jean-Francois.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Ray.
Aye.
Kleiner.
Aye.
Green.
Aye.
Witt.
Aye.
Massey.
Aye.
President Rodriguez.
Aye.
Carries.
Mr. President,
Dr. Johnson?
I have two items I'd like to offer from the floor. The first, whereas the mayor is recommending that the planning board be given further discretion regarding renewals of permits for temporary business movable structures, I'd like to make a motion that we hold a public hearing on February 18th to discuss the matter.
A resolution sponsored by Alderman Johnson to hold a public hearing, seconded by Alderman Green. Any discussion? Roll.
Tobin. Jean-Francois.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Ray.
Aye.
Kleiner.
Aye.
Green.
Aye.
Witt.
Aye.
Massey.
Aye.
President Rodriguez.
Aye.
Carries. Thank you, sir.
Alderman
I'm
Johnson?
going to take a shot at another resolution in keeping with the tenor of this evening's meeting and the mayor's remarks. And we'll see how it goes. Resolved that the Common Council, in collaboration with the administration, enact and reinforce practices and policies that ensure the safety, well-being, and legal rights of all of our residents.
A motion by Alderman Johnson. Do I have a second? Alderman Jean-Francois. Any discussion? Roll.
Tobin.
Aye.
Jean-Francois.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Ray.
Aye.
Kleiner.
Aye.
Green.
Aye.
Witt.
Aye.
Massey.
Aye.
President Rodriguez.
Aye.
Carries.
Audit.
Mr. President, I move the accounts be audited, the claims be adjusted, and the city treasurer be authorized to issue warrants for their payment.
Motion by Alderman Massey, seconded by Alderman Johnson. Roll.
Tobin.
Aye.
Jean-Francois.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Ray.
Aye.
Kleiner.
Aye.
Green.
Aye.
Witt.
Aye.
Massey.
Aye.
President Rodriguez.
Aye.
Carries.
For the good of the city, round two. Do we have anybody?
There's nobody signed up this evening, sir.
Juan didn't sign up?
Nope.
No? All right.
Motion.
If you want to come up, you come up. We-
Thank you for the opportunity. My sentiment is with the immigrant community because myself, I was an immigrant as a young child, was brought into this country by both of my parents. I grew up in the school district of Middletown, and I'm really happy to be here after almost 40 years. And I really think that we have a council such as yourselves and a mayor that supports the community and the ever-growing community, as diverse as it is today. And we thank you for looking at the scope of our society and how integrated it is into its economic base, that all of us are tied to this town and to make it better. And I really am thankful that myself and others are putting their energy and effort to make a statement to our current president that we need to stop the evil, as I heard today, because this is what it is. It's an evil for the United States of America, which I truly call my country. I might be of a different color skin, but we all have different shades. But we are all humans and we are all citizens of this great country. And we're all here to contribute to it in a good manner. And I say, if you're not here to do good, get out. And as we see, our current president is not doing good to our country because he's destroying the economies of scale. He's destroying our businesses. I am a business owner. I live in fear of how tomorrow is going to be, whether I'm going to pay my gas bill tomorrow, whether my mortgage is going to be on time. Whether it is on time or not, I signed up with a bank that it's taken out on the first of every month, as we all know of auto pay. Whether being on a Saturday, it's being withdrawn on Friday, whether I made the money or not. As a small business owner, I think that our economic system should focus on the backbone of this infrastructure of ours, which is the great United States of America. And I call us the United States of America because we should be united. And thank you to all that made this statement regarding our immigrant community, because we need this. We need this unity to overcome this evil that has come upon us. That we don't want to recall the Holocaust, the Hitler movement, that he utilized the poor, innocent Jewish community to point the finger and say, those are merchants. Those merchants are above the German people. And that's how he became powerful. That's when he became the ruthless and evil that happened in the 1940s. In 1945, the Liberation Day, I really thank and look back at history. And many of you are educated individuals, And many of you educate our children, because I have two children, two daughters in our school system that I really am grateful to, because I look at the technology that we have available in the school system that is far beyond what I had when I was a kid. And I really thank you all for remaining in a positive manner to unite us all and to be there for us, not only for myself, but for all those without opportunities. Thank you so much, and thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Okay, move for adjournment?